The decision to settle was driven by a desire to eliminate the uncertainty brought by the protracted appellate and litigation process. And that sounds eerily familiar to kind of what all of the other companies and even NAR shared when they finally settled, was that, they just don't know how long this thing's going to go on, how drawn out it might be, what the end result would be. And it creates kind of this uncertainty. That's the word here, right? Whether that's for the agents that are part of the company, the franchisees that are part of the company, and just the company itself, shareholders, et cetera. I wouldn't say to me it's any big surprise that Home Services ended up settling, particularly with kind of the remainder of the award of $5.3 billion. So what was left after the settlements was $4.7. And with kind of this, I don't want to call it threat, but idea that they may be on the hook for the rest, I'm not overly surprised that they finally agreed to settle. Powell has a news conference that's scheduled for Wednesday, actually, and there's going to be a lot of people paying really, really close attention to what he has to say. Frankly, because inflation has actually picked up in the first 3 months of 2024. And here we've been at this a while, right? Taking a restrictive stance. Restrictive in quotation marks is the wording that, Powell has used in the past, and talking about things like higher for longer. So there's a lot of question marks around whether what they're doing is working, whether they'll continue what they're doing, double down on what they're doing. And of course, there's this palpable desire in the marketplace in a lot of places for rates to come down. And yet the underlying economy that, would have to weaken in order for rates to come down kind of continues to roar ahead pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of both Powell's interview and just the meeting itself, and what the officials say about kind of next steps for getting control of inflation, what that means for rates, and certainly what that means to the real estate industry. More to come on next week's report. Well, the spring housing market is getting more inventory, and active weekly housing inventory growth slowed slightly last week, but it's still running at a healthier clip than 2023. And that's welcome news to all the buyers out there that are competing for still what is relatively low inventory. And just to add some numbers to give you some context, the weekly inventory change rose by 13,247 listings, taking it to 556,291. When you compare that to the same week last year, we had 421,924. So that's about 135,000 more than we had the same week in 2023. And to add some additional context, however, the same week back in 2015, 9 years ago, was over 1 million. So even though it's starting to tick up and we're seeing more inventory, we're still dramatically lower in terms of overall listings available than we were in years past. The all-time low was back in 2022, and that was 240,194 listings for the same week. So we're more than double that at the all-time low. So it's been quite a run here in the last decade in terms of inventory, but as it continues to tick up, again, that's going to be a welcome news to a lot of home buyers.